And welcome to another video. We are going to be doing 4 indie releases, 4 different looks. This is something that I started doing on my channel last year, basically because I became a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of new palettes that were coming out in the indie community. And I also felt like this is a better way for me to give you an overview of some of the new things that are coming out in one video. And I'll put chapters down below so that you can skip or jump ahead or go back and watch again, just so that we all can get a view of what's up and coming, and you can see if any of this is like the right one for you. I will show you a close-up of the palette, swatches, and a look, and see if it's for you or not. And if it's not for you, if you're not in a shopping mood, that's totally fine. See this video then as 4 eyeshadow tutorials that you can get a little bit inspired by. So the ones that we are going to be talking about today, and I did receive all of these palettes as PR, and my affiliate code Angelica do work with all of these brands in case you're interested in shopping something. Again, if you're not, don't feel stressed about it at all. This is just tutorials, but this video is not sponsored. None of these brands know that I'm doing this video. The first one is going to be the DeDe Signature. They released an all matte palette, and they released an all shimmer palette. So I'm gonna be swatching these, and I'm gonna be showing you a look with combining these 3. And then I have the Clionadh palettes. So I wasn't able to do a dedicated video on these because I got them after they had released, but I'm doing a look with one of the palettes here. I'm swatching all of them. I'm doing a look with one of the palettes. There's a second look coming next week with the second one of the palettes, and I'm also gonna have a reel with the third palette. So I am gonna be showing you looks with all 3. They're just not gonna be in the same video. Then we have the Beauté bar. They released a collection with 3 different things. It was an all shimmer palette, an all matte palette, and then a blush palette. And I'm doing a look, but actually, and you will see that when we get to it, I actually switched my shadows around a little bit. So my palette has the shimmers and the mattes together, and I moved some of the mattes out because I felt like that's what I wanted to do. And then the last one, which is the one that I have on my eyes today, this is the Barely Basic by Glaminatrix. This is the newest palette in my collection. I think the pre-order went up on this one. I don't know if the pre-order sold out or not, but if the pre-order sold out, this one is launching soon. So I hope that was a little bit helpful, but yeah, I do have more palettes. So if you want me to do another one of these when I get back from Rome, let me know, because I'm leaving on Saturday. Let me know if you want to see another one, because I'm definitely able to do that, but let's jump into these. So for the first look, I'm actually going to be diving into 2 new palettes by DeDe Signature, and these really complement each other because it is an all matte palette that's called Sweet Aesthetics. I think this one is meant to have an even more improved formula, which makes me very excited. So this collection also comes with some colored primers. I haven't swatched those or used those yet, and I'm not going to use them today because since this is supposedly an improved formula, I want to use it with a primer that I know and love. I always use the Sigma primer stick in Ignite, just so that I like, if something happens, I know it's not the primer. And then this is the Chromebook Volume 1. These are like duochrome. I don't know if these are necessarily multi-chrome, but these are duochrome special shades, all shimmers. And I just swatched these out, and we're going to be complementing each other. I want to do something pink and red. I know, not everybody loves that, but I do. So I think I'm going to use this one, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I'm going to use some of the pinks here. So I'm going to start with Rosé. In this collection, and didn't swatch those yet, there's also a bunch of single multi-chromes. These are absolutely stunning. But I wasn't in the mood, you can see there, I wasn't in the mood for a multichrome today, so I decided to opt out. But just know that these are available too, and I'm pretty sure my discount code works on these multichromes too. They're really, really stunning, and I like that they come in singles like this, because most of the time you just want to add like 1 or 2 special shades to your collection and maybe not like a full palette, and it's also nice to have them in a compartment like this already. So yes, starting with the pink. Get a grip. So I'm thinking I am gonna let the outer corner, oof, that is so cool, be this bright pink. And then we're gonna use the pastel in the inner part. Right? And then the red on the outer half of the lid. And then maybe one of the lighter shimmers on the inner half. I think that's gonna be good. I want to do something that has contrast without being too dark, and that has, well, one of my favorite color combos, which is pink and red. If you haven't tried, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for you to dive into some pink and red. So this is the lighter pink that's called Peony. Ooh. I don't know why I've been feeling pink lately. You know, I'm not the biggest advocate for pink makeup, but as of late I've been like, ooh, pink, but more bright pinks. I don't mind pink eyeshadow though. I actually really, really like pink eyeshadow, but for a bit I haven't really been using that either. But maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for my pink revolution. And I do this now, a year after the Barbie craze, because why would I want to jump on a trend when it's trendy? Only sane people do that. Let's do some under the eyes too. Am I gonna do this in the inner corner too? I think so. Okay, I think I'm gonna create even more contrast now with Daydream, which is that red pink beautiful shade. I'm so excited. That picked up really beautifully, but I am gonna spray it after I picked it up. Just any setting spray, just to make sure that it's like sticking to my lid. Ooh, that is so pretty. And it is turning or like warping a little bit more coral now that it's on my eye. And with the matte pink, I'm now going over there again just to intensify and blend them together. Cupid is going to a rave. I started swatching some of these, and this one, actually, it's called Snowy Hooves. It is a pink shift. I started swatching some of these and I'm like, no, this one has a blue, this one has a almost like a lime green. Oh, you can see. And this one is a pink. Oh, we're using that one. I feel like this is just gonna complete this look totally. Just putting this on top here in the inner part. Oh my god, I'm mumbling. I'm so excited. Like the baby pink sheen. That is so perfect. So I did a little liner. This liner is, she's good, you know, keeping her grades, getting to college. This one, I don't know what's going on. She is in for a wild ride, let me tell you that. I'm using a little pink in my waterline. This one, I think this is discontinued. This is from Colourpop. It's called Boots. But you see, this is the old packaging, and I don't think they do this one anymore, like this color. But let me put on some falsies, and we can be done. I love a good pink and red eye moment. I will say, once you get all the pink in, it does like take away, it depends on what color you are letting be the dominant color. And in this look, it definitely is the pinks that are the dominant color. So the red here just almost turns into this deep fuchsia reddish pink. It doesn't really seem like a red and pink look, but I really think that it added to the look, and I actually really like how this turned out. I had no problem whatsoever with any of the shades, and I only used 4 shades, and I think the look is really exquisite and really fun, and I'm really happy I have this look on. So yeah, that was my first impression of those palettes so far. 2 thumbs up. I think they're really beautiful. If this is something that you're looking for, let's go into look number 2, which, as I'm filming this, I have no clue what that's gonna be. So I am showing you swatches of all the 3 new palettes from Clionadh, but I'm actually only going to do a look with one of the palettes, and that is the Oceano palette, this one here. I have already filmed a look with this palette. It's going to be in a Get Ready With Me that's coming in just a little bit. I've already pre-filmed it, it's already edited, so that one is coming, and I'm gonna be filming a short something with this palette. I just simply do not have time in this video to do 3 different looks, but just know there will be 3 looks with these palettes, just not in this video. I hope that makes sense. But today I'm gonna do a look with the Oceano palette. This one is the new palette because some of these other palettes were already available from before, and this is like, they're re-releases. They are similar color stories, the same name, similar packaging. This is the new palette. I haven't even 100% decided what I want to do. I will say the shimmers in this one swatches the most exciting, especially these 2 here, and also the green, and I kind of want to base my looks around these 3 shimmers. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna do green, green, blue on the lower lash line with this one, and then this one in the inner part. I have decided. I'm gonna start with the dark tealy green Manta Ray, just because I know approximately where I want the depth to be. And I'm not gonna focus too much on the mattes, which is unusual for me because it is the shimmers that are truly making me very excited about this palette. So I'm just gonna push this in the outer corner like this, and I'm probably gonna cover some of this up with the shimmers too. Probably the one that's called Plankton. I think this, am I in focus? And I'm picking the shade that's called Archipelago. I don't know if this is gonna work. Well, we'll see. We will see. You know what? It might. I love a look that is a mix between warm tones and cool tones. I feel like something about the contrast between a cool shade and a warm shade just really, it sparks something with me. So I'm just gonna blend out this here, and I'm gonna add a little bit more of that darker shade and blend these together, and hopefully this will turn out okay. So this is the shade Starfish, and I'm just gonna put a little bit in the crease in my inner corner, just to have something. I might even put it all, not all over, but like I might put, oh, this one has a lot of fallout. I might put a little bit on my lid too, just for that other shade to have something to like be on, because I think that some of these are a little bit more on the sheer side, like toppers, which I don't mind. So I'm not trying to make this even. I'm just using it almost like a transition for the shimmer that's to come. I don't worry too much about making stuff perfect if I'm gonna cover it up. Like, why would I do that? And this is the color Undertow. Is it called that? Undertow? I hope I'm not saying that incorrectly. And I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line. Okay, let's actually start with the shade Mana Lua. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And we are now gonna be going into the part that I'm most excited about. I am gonna spray this because we already have all the shimmers set down. So this one is going in the inner half. Oh, that is such a gorgeous color. And I am gonna gently blend this into the matte in the crease. So it's almost like a little shimmer transition in the inner part. Now this is the shade Plankton, and this is the one we're gonna put next to it, like here. Like, look at that. Such a cool shade. My dogs are being so dramatic that I could hear Kaisa's loud sigh from the staircase. I swear dogs are so dramatic sometimes. And then I'm gonna use a small brush. Let me find an EO5. I'm gonna blend those 2 dark mattes together, and I'm just using a little bit on the outer corner. I think that is really cool. And this is the shade Bioluminescent, and I'm gonna see if we can put this on the lower lash line. This shade is so cool. I kind of almost want to have like a smaller brush. Or maybe I'll use, oh yeah, like this. Blend it out a little bit so you can see that it's a topper. That is so cool. I still want to have something matte here, so I'm not putting it all the way in. I decided to do a little wing because I thought that that could be cool for today. Right? And what should I do for my waterline? White? Blue? Not prance. I've been using prance so much, but maybe a bright blue. Maybe. Right? So I put on a little half lash. I put on a small one actually. I'm using the Hero ones from LH Cosmetics. I thought it'd be nice with something a little smaller. And I'm gonna reach into the... Did you see that? I'm saying again, but quite recently I reached into this. It's called Curiosity. It's like an almost white. It's a white with a blue tinge to it. And I'm gonna put that in my inner corners. Actually, I might have reached for this in the Archeo look that you haven't seen yet. How interesting that with both of the Clionadh palettes, I'm reaching for this Wizard palette for this exact shade. That is interesting. But I like to have something matte and light in my inner corner. It's basically my thing at this point. I think it is so pretty and I like how that looks on me, and I do think that you should remember that for your own looks as well. If there's something that you really like to do, if you always do a beige waterline, a wing liner, whatever you're doing, if you think that that goes with every look and you like that no matter what, keep doing it if it makes you feel pretty, if it makes you feel fierce, if it makes you feel like you. And yeah, that's the matte inner corner and the look is done. Cute. So this is the look with the Oceano palette, and like I said, I've already filmed one with this one. It is coming, and I will film one with the other one as well. What I will say, when I opened this palette, I thought that this was going to be my favorite palette, and when I swatched them, I was like, oh, there's so many cool shadows in here. But now that I have them on my eye, I think that there's a lot of shades that are very cool individually in this palette, or there is a lot of shades that will look good as duos. Like these will look good together, these will look good together, these will look good together. But now that I have them on my eyes, I don't dislike how this looks. I don't dislike the performance of these shadows, but I don't 100% know if this works as a color story if you want to be like me and use a bunch of shades on your eyes. I hope that this makes sense. So I'm not displeased with the look, but I definitely could have done better with using less shades, which to me tells me that maybe the undertones and the shades don't work 100% together as a unity. They more work together as like duos or singles. I hope that that makes sense, but this is the look. Anyways, I do like how it looks. It looks fierce. I look like a very cool and interesting person. But let's get into look number 3 with, honestly, I have no idea, a secret palette. We're gonna do a third look, and I already have mascara on because I actually filmed this segment doing my foundation for a thing on Instagram. So I'm gonna do my eye look, but I have mascara on, but no eyeshadow. But I said in my new makeup releases when I talked about this that I kind of wish that this shimmer palette had been in this palette. So what I actually did is that I took 6 of the mattes out, 3 of the colorful and 3 of the mattes, and I put the 6 shimmers in that palette so that it now is a shimmer and a matte palette. And I actually prefer this. I think that this is beautiful. So, and since this is a half neutral, half like almost neon palette, that's the look we're gonna do. We're gonna do a neutral crease, a brown crease, and then we're gonna play with some of the neons. But let's start with the blush palette. This is the Baked Blush Face and Cheek palette, and I am gonna be using this one that is a little bit more neutral. There are lots of like more pinky colors. Those aren't necessarily my jive. And I usually, oh, this is like a little bit of almost like a mauve undertone in it. I usually don't do matte cheeks either. So I'm gonna go in with a Bella Beauté bar, a highlighter over, which is one of my favorite things that they have ever released. This is pretty pigmented and pretty blendable, and that actually looks really nice. And I think that if you like matte blushes, and if you like blushes that are leaning a little bit more on the pinky side, there are lots of options in this one for you. I'm going to be using the Oracle palette. This is the Chrome highlighter palette. This one has like multi-chrome and duochrome shades in here. And since I have this look on, I think we're going to do the Sun, which is like a golden peachy kind of a shade. And we're gonna do that over here. Look at that. It's like almost like a, what I want, like a fiery peach. Look at that. It's so pretty. And there is a duochrome to it. You see there's like a little gold that comes out. Let me just make sure that we don't have any creases in the primer. And I am just gonna start with this shade right here, this like almost like chocolatey brown, and we are gonna do that in the crease with this almost clean brush. I love the Bella Beauté bar, all their formulas, the matte, the shimmer, the special shades. I love all of their colors. So I am sure that I'm gonna love this too, and I'm gonna put this about 2/3 of the crease. I'm just smacking it on to begin with. And then I'm gonna blend the upper edge. What a nice brown color. Got that lovely like caramelly undertone. I did pick out some of the shades that were a little bit more cool tone because that's not my jive. We all have our preferences, and I put in the shimmers instead. I did put a little bit on my lower lash line too, and now we are gonna be using, oh my god, I have something itching me. This one, the dark brown. Oh, it's on my lip now. I see it. And we're going to be deepening this up. And then we're going to go in with some of the colorful mattes. And I'm not going to take this as far in or as far up. I'm just keeping this in the V, outer V here. So it goes in and then it goes in the crease, but not all the way up. That is very pretty. I can get excited about a neutral if it's like dramatic. So this collection is ice cream themed, and I kind of want to do this look like an ice cream laying down with the waffle cone and then the colors in here. And I am dying to use some of these colors. I might use, you can see here, they're neons. I think I'm going to use these 3 here, and I'm just going to put them in the inner corner and meeting this. Let me see if I can show you. I'm just going to start patting this on here. Some of these like very bright white based colors are not ideal building upon or doing big swipey motions. You're much better off just pressing them on, blending the edge, and just leaving as is. This is the lighter one. Oh, what a fun color. I'm gonna do the same on the lower lash line too. And this is that bright yellowy neon, and we're gonna, ooh, so pretty. We're gonna put that in the inner corner. We're just putting these down because now we're gonna put some shimmers on top. And because these are a little bit more white-based neon-y shade, some of these are gonna blend away when we put the shimmers on. So we are just gonna have to go in and reapply. So that's why I'm not too worried about how it's looking right now, because we are gonna have to come back and reapply a little bit. So I'm gonna be using the yellow and the orange shimmer. I think that will make the most sense. I'm actually gonna start with the yellow one. That is definitely a cat or a dog hair. And since we have some mattes going on. I will be spraying this one because otherwise I don't think that this will stick, especially not since there are some almost neons underneath. So we're starting with the yellow here. And this is what I mean, that we're gonna have to go back with the mattes and just put some on top. That is so pretty though. And this is that more orangey peachy one, and we're putting that next to it. Ooh, I actually really like how that looks, and they go so well together. So I'm gonna reapply a little bit of this yellow and just blend that a little bit better into the different colors, because I feel like this is the one that's like the brightest. So I'm just gonna blend a little bit over the shimmer to make it like make sense a little. But yeah, definitely these super bright like neon-y mattes do have a lot of white space in them, and it does make them a little harder. Oh my god. It does make them a little harder to blend, and it makes them a little harder to build especially. But I think that that eye look is really good. Just blending a little bit. I think it looks really incredible and like bright and neon-y and fun, and I didn't feel like pinks today. I think this is beautiful. I am very, very happy about this makeup look. I think it looks super, super cute, and it does look a little bit maybe like a neon ice cream, but like the brown out here and then going into the super bright colors. I mean, this is my jam, but there also are some pinks in this palette that you could be mixing in and doing some pink looks instead. I love a half neutral, half colorful palette, and I think that this is a great execution. But with that being said, I prefer my version more. The one that has the shimmers in here, because I think that this could have been a palette. And this is just my personal opinion. But again, Beauté bar, the way that they do their palettes with a little divot in here, these are magnetized, so you can move them around. But I still think that this could have been the palette. This could have been the palette with the shimmers in here. I do love an all matte palette though, but these are just personal preferences. The formula is beautiful though. I think everything looks really beautiful. Let's get into look number 4, which again, this is an ongoing theme in this video. I don't know what that is as I'm filming this. So I've decided to make, oh my god, it's so reflective. I have decided, like, it reflects on me, to make the last palette, the Barely Basic by Glaminatrix. Wow, forgot the name. This is a beautiful palette, and I like both the olives and I like this tone over here as well. So I was thinking maybe we'll do a little berry green, maybe berry lower lash line to the outer corner and green in the inner part, because these like shades here, well, you saw them, they're like iridescent shades. I can tell just by looking at them. So maybe I'll start with that dark holy grail, which is the berry. I'm usually not all about like more neutral looks, but I have to say this neutral palette is really, really pretty. Like there is like darker shades, lighter shades, really light shades. You can do a matte inner corner if you want to. And there is like darker shimmers that seem to be like more special shades. I'm sure one of these, like you've seen the swatches, but like I can tell that at least one of these is a multi-chrome, and then the iridescent shades. I feel like this one is a neutral palette with a twist. So, oh my god, I'm like disappearing out of frame. I feel like the camera is... I feel like it's almost like a little... That feels better. I felt like I was like out of... I felt like I was out of frame. But I feel like it's a very nice neutral palette with a twist where you can go neutral if you want to. but you can also like make it a little bit more dramatic and fun and colorful if you want that as well. Not that like neutrals can't be either fun or dramatic, but like, you know what I mean. I have been really appreciating a neutral look as of late too. I just need it to be dramatic, or at least have some contrast. So this is the shade Like, which is the more muted mauvey, slightly lighter shade. And I am gonna use this and I'm gonna blend the edge. Ooh, this is really pigmented. And probably on my lower lash line too. And I'm not bringing it in here because I want to have the greens, but I'm just starting like this to get like a feel for it. And let's do the lower lash line too. I still have that, like you can see in here and here. I want to say that it was a dry spot, but I actually think that it's my eczema coming back, which is very annoying. I've been treating it, but I also like the show must go on. I unfortunately cannot take time off for eczema. My boss is very demanding. I say as I work for myself. Okay, so I was thinking, let me start with the lighter one. It's called Scrunchy. I don't know why, but that is it's a cute shade name. And let's do that towards the inner part. And since this is a burgundy and an olive green, blending them together, you have to use a little bit of caution. You can't just be swiping with them together because it's gonna get super muddy because they don't really blend naturally into each other. So unless you want a muddy mess, I would say pack it on and blend a little bit on the edge and then carefully let them meet in the middle. And then we'll just put the shimmer where they meet and everything will be a-okay. This is my plan. So we have a burgundy to like, you can see, like a bronzy green to a burgundy. And I think we're gonna put that in the middle and then this iridescent green next to it. I honestly think that that's gonna be really good. I'm actually gonna start with the iridescent green. It is called Get Ready With Me. I'm sensing a social media theme in this palette. Let me actually spritz this one because I've already put some mattes down. I feel like this is one of those looks that's like, trust the process, trust the process. Okay, this is way more green than I had in mind maybe, but I think we will figure it out. We will figure it out. It's almost that a gold would have been better. I don't know if there's a gold one here, but again, this will be fine. This is our mantra. Trust the process, everything will be fine. So this is the shade that's called Viral, and we'll just put that in between here. Since this has like a green, like flip to it, I think this will be perfect in between. Where am I at? I think this will be perfect in between here. And I'm gonna pat a little bit here. And then we are gonna, where is it? Here. We're gonna add a little bit more of the Holy Grail over here. On an E07, which is just a super flat, thin brush, I am just creating a little bit, almost like a false liner wedge with that dark shade out in my outer corners, hello. Just to create a little bit more drama. And I think that that looks really, really cool. I'm a big fan of how that looks. We need an inner corner highlight. Let me see if I have, I was gonna say clean brush. We do not have a clean brush. There is, oh, it's called Girl Dinner. Okay, that is actually funny. It's like an almost white, and I love a very bright matte inner corner. I love a bright inner corner. I just don't necessarily love a shimmery bright inner corner. I know it's not for everyone, but don't knock it until you try it. It's actually really flattering and pretty. And I've been a fan for a long time. I'm sure that I will, you know, you fall in and out of love of different things, but this is my current love. the matte inner corner, and it's been for a bit. I got a little fallout, but it's kind of okay. So yeah, that is the look. I think it looks really incredible. I am a big fan of that. So, ooh, what should I do? What waterline should I do? Let me think about that. I need to ponder. Okay, so I decided to do a warm green, like a yellowy green, to go with the crease. So this is Natasha Denona Camo Camo. And I think that this, it really tied everything together really well. I'm having just mascara on now. Let me put on some lashes and we can have some final thoughts about, well, all of these 4 things. So the look is done with the palette, and honestly, if you want a neutral palette, I am actually really sure you're gonna enjoy this one. If you just wanna have a neutral palette that can bring you into something slightly different, slightly more dramatic, slightly more colorful, because there are 2 rows of more brownie shades here, and there's olive, and then there's this like almost like plummy mauvey, and then the shimmers are just really special and interesting. And if you have a lot of neutral palettes and you want to add one, honestly, I think that this one, I think they did a really good job with this one. And I feel like in this video, I have this full like stack of palettes and like which one is the best one. And I am gonna let you know right now, I have even more indie palettes that I could have like included in this video. I have more stuff that I could have put in here. And part of me is like, it's turning to be a lot. It is turning to be a lot because like some of these brands do be releasing quite a lot of products quite often. I will say Glaminatrix Cosmetics, oh my god, where am I putting these? Glaminatrix Cosmetics isn't necessarily a brand that releases a lot, but I do think that a lot of indie brands got a lot of success in 2019, 2020, 2021, especially during the pandemic when a lot of people were only shopping makeup online. And I know this for a fact that some brands, not necessarily, I'm holding this one up, but that's not what I mean. This is not necessarily about any of the brands that I'm talking about in this video. But I think that the success that a lot of brands that are online only had when we were shopping online only has made a lot of brands maybe release more products than anyone was like actually asking for. And I also know from having discussions with bigger brands that are sold in, and I think that like, I don't know if this is every creator, but I actually talk with a lot of like people who work for brands, even brands that are sold at like bigger places. They also said that like some of the sales were really booming, and they were just releasing more and more and more, and then realizing that they had to like pull back a bit and release less. And I do really hope that this will happen with indie brands too, because I do personally think that releasing something every month is too much, even though it's great quality. Honestly, all of this that I've tried today has been great quality, but I do think that we maybe need to simmer down just a little bit and focus on getting fewer but nicer things. Hannah-Lee's posted and told me about this in what, 2019 when I met her in LA, because I did go to LA and I hung out with Hannah-Lee's poster for a couple of days, and since then, I've tried to have that view in my life. Maybe not so much with makeup because it is my job to like review and tell you which ones are the best ones so that you can live a fewer but nicer things. But I try to think about it with Cinch Beauty, my own brand, and I try to think about it with home decor and with food and with clothing, fashion especially. So I don't know if this made any sense, but I just wanted to let you know, if you feel overwhelmed, I'm telling you right now, you are not alone. And I know this from other creator friends as well. You are definitely not alone. And that's probably also why a lot of people don't do a lot of dedicated reviews anymore, because it would just end up being only dedicated reviews. I could do dedicated reviews on makeup every day of the week and still have things I'm not getting to, and that's not the life I want to live. I think this one is my favorite because it is a really good neutral palette. This is a really nice neutral palette. I love the tones in here, and I really like what I was able to do. I like the drama. I like there's a light shade. There's a couple of dark shades. The shimmers are really interesting. I also really love the palette that I did myself with Bella Beauté bar, because again, I don't love an all shimmer palette, and I love an all matte palette, but maybe not necessarily this big. But this together with the shimmers, honestly, the quality is amazing with Bella Beauté Bar. They have great mattes, great shimmer special formulas. Like they're honestly absolutely amazing. And I also think that Clionadh has a really great formula. I'm happy to see that their palettes are back. This palette specifically that I did look with in this video, I do think the color scheme is beautiful, but not necessarily cohesive enough so that you can make a look with a lot of different shades. But I also know a bunch of you are not like that. You use like 2 or 3 shades and you're like done with it. I think that my favorite color story is the Archeo one. And like I said, I already filmed the look with this one and it is coming real soon. Like I've already edited the video. It's coming while I'm in Rome. That one is coming. And I mean, they're absolutely beautiful palette. I'm so happy they're coming back. I think my favorite is the Archeo one. But I also love yellows, so that might be it. I think this is a perfect size for a all matte palette. I do wish though that we had one really light shade and maybe one more really dark. It is more of a mid-tone palette, but the quality is really beautiful. And I'm liking that there's not like a typical purple. It's more a little bit more almost like a grayish dusky purple. And then these greens are a little bit more on the minty way. And then we have these a little bit different shades over here, making it not like a typical like rainbow, but it is somewhat of a matte rainbow palette. Just keep that in mind. If you love like all shimmer palettes, I mean, this is beautiful. Is it my type of palette? Not necessarily. With that being said, the look that I did with this one, like these two together, I absolutely love the look. I felt so fierce. So I hope this helps in any way, shape, or form. Please let me know your favorite down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you on Friday for a new makeup releases. There will be a new makeup releases because I'm not leaving until Saturday. Bye!